The idea of Germany winning World War II has long fascinated storytellers, and two of the most iconic portrayals come from Wolfenstein and The Man in the High Castle. In both, the Germans don't just win, they reshape the world in their image. In today's video, I'll be comparing these two alternate histories: how the Germans won the war, what kind of nightmarish technology they developed, and which universe, if any, would suck less to live in. Specifically, we'll be diving into Machine Games' Wolfenstein reboot series and Amazon's adaptation of The Man in the High Castle, based on Philip K. Dick's novel of the same name. I won't be covering character storylines, as they aren't the focus here. This video is all about world-building, geopolitics, and tech. So with that said, let's get into it. In 2000 BC, an ancient religious society known as the Dayat Yichud was founded in Mesopotamia. The Dayat Yichud believed that technological and scientific advancement brought them closer to their god, so they devoted their lives to innovation. The technologies they created were millennia ahead of their time, futuristic even by today's standards. But since they pursued technology only as a spiritual path, rather than for material use, they chose to hide their inventions and blueprints in secret vaults scattered across the world. After this, the timeline unfolds exactly as it does in our history. A few key individuals are born who were absent from our world, such as Wilhelm Strasse, later known as Deathshed, born in 1860, and B.J. Blazkowicz, the protagonist, born in 1911. World War I begins in 1914 and ends in 1918. In 1933, the Mustache Man rises to power as Chancellor of Germany. Germany invades Poland on the 1st of September 1939, prompting France and the UK to declare war. France falls in 1940, and Germany launches Operation Barbarossa on June 22, 1941. Later that year, on December 7, 1941, Japan attacks Pearl Harbor, bringing the United States into the war. The first major divergence from our timeline occurs on D-Day, June 6, 1944. In our history, the Normandy landings were costly but successful. In this alternate reality, however, the Germans had drastically fortified the beaches. The result? 156,000 Allied soldiers perish, while the Germans lose only 89 troops. This catastrophic failure not only halts the opening of a Western front, but also strains US-UK relations. With no distractions in the West, Germany redirects its full force to the Eastern Front and pushes the Soviets back. On March 9, 1945, Germany wins the Battle of Stalingrad and begins relentless bombing campaigns over Moscow. A week later, on March 16, 1945, the Red Army retreats from the Soviet capital. By June 24, 1945, during the Battle of Liverpool, the Royal Air Force loses two-thirds of its fighter fleet. With Britain's air power crippled, Germany achieves total air superiority and launches further airborne operations over the British Isles. Then comes the turning point. January 6, 1946. German forces uncover the first of many Da'at Yichud vaults. Under Deathshed's command, the secrets within the vault are reverse-engineered to create revolutionary technology. Mechanized Panzerhunds, super soldiers, and futuristic firearms. The balance of power tips sharply. The Allies, still using conventional weapons, find themselves hopelessly outmatched. On July 16, 1946, in a desperate move, the Allies launch an air raid on Deathshed's compound on the coast of Poland, in an attempt to change the tide of the war by killing Deathshed and stopping his military research. Most of the task force doesn't make it to the shore, and those that do are unfortunate enough to meet the Baltic Eye, a product of the Da'at Yichud technology. It is a massive, three-legged war machine that uses electric-based attacks to protect the facility. Unfortunately for the Allies, Deathshed escapes, and the operation fails, crushing any hope left of changing the tide of the war. Just a month later, on August 20, 1946, Japanese-German naval forces engage and obliterate the entire U.S. naval fleet in the Pacific. The U.S. loses naval dominance. The Soviet Union surrenders on December 12, 1946, though remnants of the Red Army survive in the Far East. Germany commences Operation Celian and invades the United Kingdom. The British Isles don't last long and surrender on June 21, 1946. Germany declares victory across Eurasia on July 8, 1946, after eliminating the last Red Army holdouts and conquering the Republic of China, turning it, and Japan, into subordinate states. Then, on December 21st, Germany drops an atomic bomb on New York City, instantly killing 200,000 people. The United States surrenders and the Germans win World War II. With only a few resistance pockets left, Germany rules unchallenged in its New World Order. The regime begins erasing national identities, demolishing cultural monuments, mandating German language education, and enforcing ideological conformity. Anyone seen as undesirable is deleted to make way for a pure Aryan race. Mount Rushmore is destroyed. Indigenous populations in North Africa are wiped out and replaced with German settlers. Brutal not fun camps are established globally. Thanks to stolen Da'at Yichud technology, Germany invents superconcrete, a material as strong as steel. It is used to rebuild Berlin into a vast, brutalist fortress. Monumental structures rise. A maximum security prison in Berlin to house resistance leaders. The Gibraltar Bridge, linking Europe to Africa and serving as a supply route for German forces dealing with resistance groups in South Africa. London Nautica, a towering research facility and transportation hub to other planetary colonies, and the Eisenpfeil, a high-speed railway from Warsaw to Zagreb. With the advanced technology, Germany was able to build space colonies on the Moon and Venus. Even if you managed to organize a resistance, it would not last long, because the Germans have created terrifying superweapons, like the previously mentioned Panzerhund, a titanium steel-encased murder machine that has jaws to cut through the thickest of body armor. Supersoldaten, giant super soldiers that wield super laser cannons. High-mobility armed drones that patrol many cities. And there are many other mechanized robots used for oppression. One of the deadliest superweapons is the Ausmercer, a flying aircraft carrier armed to the teeth which is sent to patrol the skies over America, and the London Monitor, built from the remains of the Baltic Eye, a colossal robot equipped with flamethrowers, autocannons, and a giant laser cannon. The Mustache Man also made a failsafe in the event that the German Empire would be toppled and that he would be killed. Upon his death, a doomsday device will trigger that will make the Earth slowly uninhabitable through severe weather manipulation. It is unwinnable. You either stay oppressed under the regime, or even if you did topple the Germans, the Earth would slowly become uninhabitable, driving humans to extinction. This world is exactly the same as ours up until 15 February 1933. In our world, Giuseppe Zangara failed to assassinate Franklin D. Roosevelt, the current US president of the time. In this timeline, however, the Italian anarchists succeeded in his plot. With the assassination of Franklin D. Roosevelt, none of his successors were able to implement his New Deal, which would help America pull out from the Great Depression. The American economy is left crippled, and as a result, the US adopts strict isolationist policies that leave them out of foreign affairs. After this event, everything is still relatively the same. Germany invades Poland on the 1st of September 1939 and conquers Western Europe by 1940. During the Battle of Britain, without the support from the United States, the Royal Air Force, along with several major cities, are decimated by the Luftwaffe. Winston Churchill is assassinated during this time, and British morale plummets but still holds out against the Germans. The Germans are unable to commence Operation Sealion yet, due to their inferior navy, but the war still starts favoring the Axis. Japan attacks Pearl Harbor in April 1941, obliterating the entire US Pacific Fleet. The US, still paralyzed from the Great Depression, is too weak to respond to this attack and loses naval supremacy in the Pacific. Germany launches Operation Barbarossa on June 22, 1941, invading the Soviet Union. In northern Africa, the Germans push back the British into Palestine. After convincing Turkey to join the Axis, German and Turkish forces conquer Iraq and Iran from the British. The Soviets aren't doing well either. With no foreign support coming, the Soviets are much weaker. Leningrad and Stalingrad easily fall under Axis control. With the capture of two major cities, the Red Army collapses and Axis powers march into Moscow. Compounded by the Japanese invasion of Siberia, the Soviet Union surrenders in April 1943. With most of Europe now under Axis control, Germany focuses on Africa, and with help from Italy and Vichy France, quickly break through Allied defenses and push deeper into Allied territory. The Germans, along with its allies, continue to push back the Allies in Africa until they finally conquer the continent. Japan conquers the Republic of China in April 1944. Following this massive victory, Japan launches military campaigns into Australia and the British Raj. By May 1945, after crippling the Royal Navy with bombings, Germany launched Operation Sealion and besieged London. With the British Empire crumbling, Britain officially signed their surrender in June 1945. Many of the former Allied governments flee to the Americas in exile, but this safe haven doesn't last long because on December 11, 1945, Germany drops an atomic bomb on Washington, D.C. Japan then lands troops in and invades the American West Coast, while Germany invades the East Coast. With a collapsed government and an unorganized military and the overwhelming joint invasion by Germany and Japan, the United States government is forced to surrender. A resistance group in North America is formed to fight off the invaders. In February 1946, Central and South America fall under German and Japanese control, and the North American resistance is further pushed back. In September 1947, the resistance surrenders. With that, the Axis powers have achieved total world domination. Germany and Japan divide the conquered lands with each other. Germany takes all of Africa, Europe, and the eastern coasts of America. Japan takes all of Oceania, most of Asia, and the western coasts of America. Buffer zones are established between the two superpowers. Germany begins its plan of removing non-desirables from the world and erasing national identities. Not-so-fun camps are established globally. Local populations like the Slavs in Russia and African populations are deleted to make room for German settlers. In America, national monuments are demolished like Mount Rushmore and the Statue of Liberty. The Liberty Bell is even melted down to make a swastika. Unlike the Germans, the Japanese were relatively light rulers in their conquered territories. By the 1960s, Berlin is reconstructed into a concrete fortress with huge monumental buildings. The Germans have developed technologies like the monorail, civilian supersonic jet airliners, and VTOL aircraft, and landed on the moon by that time. Few resistance pockets are left in the buffer zones, but they pose no danger to the two regimes. The alliance between Germany and Japan during this time had deteriorated into a tense Cold War. As a result, German High Command began devising a three-phase plan to ensure a swift Japanese surrender and achieve total German world domination. It's clear which one is more grounded and which one veers into the absurd. The Man in the High Castle hinges on a single changed event, the assassination of Franklin D. Roosevelt. That one moment triggers a domino effect. Without U.S. military aid, the Allies falter, and Germany emerges victorious in World War II. A weakened United States allows the Nazis to conquer the United Kingdom and the Soviet Union unopposed, before turning their attention westward to finish off America. Wolfenstein's timeline, while more exaggerated, starts off somewhat plausible. The Allies fail at D-Day, preventing the Western Front from opening. Germany focuses its might on the Eastern Front, captures Stalingrad, and lays siege to Moscow. Then things escalate. Germany conveniently discovers a vault of super-advanced technology, leading to monstrous war machines that makes it look like a German playthrough of HOI 4 on recruit difficulty, with maxed-out tech in 1936. Despite that, both timelines share some parallels. In each, Germany wins World War II by dropping an atomic bomb on the US. They're the first to land on the moon, and Berlin is rebuilt as the Mustache Man envisioned. Their regimes mirror each other with brutal policies, global camps, and the systematic erasure of undesirables. Even iconic American landmarks like Mount Rushmore are demolished. Now for the differences. In Wolfenstein, the Germans build a massive bridge across the Strait of Gibraltar, connecting Europe to Africa. In The Man in the High Castle, there was a plan to drain the Mediterranean Sea for farmland by building a giant dam, but the idea was eventually scrapped. Besides the People's Hall in Berlin, other gigantic structures are built in Wolfenstein, but Man in the High Castle does not appear to have these kinds of structures. Geopolitically, Wolfenstein's Germany has no true rival. Every nation is either annexed or turned into a puppet state. The entire world is under German rule. The only resistance left is a scattered South African front and one man with an absurd amount of plot armor. Meanwhile, The Man in the High Castle presents Japan not as a servant of Germany, but as a former ally turned geopolitical rival, clashing with German ambitions for world domination. Technologically, Wolfenstein is far ahead. Germany creates drones, giant super soldiers, mechanized robots, flying aircraft carriers, enormous resistance-suppressing machines, and even colonizes the Moon and Venus with more ambition and success than the Germans in the show. They build a doomsday device as a final insurance policy should their empire ever fall. By contrast, the Man in the High Castle is more grounded with its tech, but pales in comparison. At least they have the monorail, so that's cool. In the end, both worlds are dystopias, but Wolfenstein's is a living nightmare. With their godlike tech and militarized domination, going up against the Reich means certain doom.